All right, class. So let's take a look at some example problems related to Ohm's law and Watt's law, and also a little bit of energy. So this first question right here is related to Ohm's law. So it says a light bulb is connected to a 12-volt battery. The current is measured to be 2 amps. Calculate the resistance of the circuit. So just like we did in module 2, um, the easiest way to answer these types of problems would be to first figure out what you are trying to find. And so in this particular, so for this particular problem, it tells us that it wants us to calculate the resistance right here. So therefore, we're going to say resistance equals question marks. We don't know what it is. We're trying to find it. All right. And the next thing you want to do, you want to write down the values that you do have. So what we have here is we got the voltage. So we can say V equals 12 volts. And also we know the current. So we'll say I equals 2 amps. Now I'm gonna be honest. Now this one right here should be pretty straightforward once you do it a couple times. Because this one right here is just your classic Ohm's law formula. But however, you can refer to the Ohm's law, Watt's law wheel, or the matrix. I'll show you how to do both of them. So we was told that we need to find R, the resistance. And so when you refer to the wheel, you just come over here to R. So therefore we know that all the formulas that will calculate the resistance is right here in this purple section. Right here. And so all you have to do is just find the one that has your voltage and your current. So we can't use this one because this one has power and current. So this one doesn't work. This one doesn't work because it has voltage and power. But this one does. V over I. So R equals V over I. So that's your formula that you're going to need in order to calculate the resistance. So let's take a look down here and see how we could find the same thing using our matrix. So just like I said before, we're looking for R, the resistance. And so you'll come right here and you'll find your resistance formulas, which is right there, all in the purple. And so you could just do like we did with the wheel and just figure out which formula that only has the voltage and current, or you can come over here and it asks you which values that you know. So, like for example, if we knew the voltage and power, we could use this formula right here to calculate the resistance. If we knew the current and power, we could use this one. But we don't know the power for this particular question. But we do know the voltage and the current. So therefore, the same formula is found there on the matrix. But for this particular problem, this one should be straightforward. And I'm not expecting you to memorize every single variations of these formulas. But however, the more you do remember and more you do know how to apply, it'll make it a whole lot easier to solve these types of problems. But the two formulas that you do need to know is Ohm's law, V equals I times R, and Watt's law, P equals V times I. And we'll get into Watt's law a little bit later. But these are the two main formulas that you need to remember, Rod. You need to know these like the back of your hand because these are the foundational formulas for electronics. So all the rest of these versions of formulas are derived from these two basic formulas. And if you watch the videos that I suggested that you watch, they kind of go into a little bit more detail on how these formulas are derived. But so let's jump back to the problem. So we know the formula that we need to use to calculate the resistance given the voltage and the current is R equals V over I, which equals 12 volts over 2 amps. And that is simply 6 ohms. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, so this next one states the current in a circuit is measured to be 10 amps through a 20 ohm resistor. So calculate the voltage applied to the circuit. So again, like we did before, we want to write down what we're trying to find. So V equals question mark. That's we're trying to find the voltage. And so what do we know? So we know the current. So I equals 10 amps. And also we know the resistance. So R equals 20 ohms. And so at this point, you could refer back to the wheels or the matrix. But like I said, this is your classic Ohm's law. You should be able to recognize this once you do it a couple times. You should be able to say, okay, I got my current, I got my resistance, I can calculate the voltage. So V equals I times R, which equals your 10 amps times your resistance, which is 20 ohms. And so that equals 200 volts. Pretty straightforward.